Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get into Obsidian Entertainment in 2025 because, my God, what an absolutely astounding surprise for the Game Awards. I mean, look, we knew Avowed was happening. Avowed got delayed from this year, and I'm glad it did because the Avowed that we saw originally versus the Avowed that we saw after the delay, two different games. Like, honestly, it looks so freaking good. And it's, again, I'm going to probably play in third person, even though I might switch to first on some things like I did with Starfield, but I'm probably going third person. And the fact that they give you that opportunity, that option, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right. But then out of nowhere, out of complete left field, we get the Outer Worlds 2, which if you didn't play the Outer Worlds, for the love of the gaming gods, please go play that game because the DLCs are just as good. But the game itself, if you are an OG Mass Effect fan, you're going to love it because the interaction with the characters that you can get on your squad becomes personal. They have like personal missions that you can take on, and you can miss a lot of them if you choose to. I went and looked for each one of them. I absolutely adored the Outer Worlds 1. This is, and again, I hope they bookend the year, bro. How I see this thing playing out, because look at what happened with Indiana Jones. Came out in December, and still people were talking about it. Now, I know there's going to be some folks in the chat like, hey, but you know, Boom, if it gets into the Game Awards and this, that, and the third. Listen, they can't schedule their releases around being, as much as I would love every game to be at the Game Awards for Xbox, they deserve to be there. Indiana Jones, if it wasn't ready, shouldn't have been there. It released in on December 9th, and we're all still talking about it. We're all still loving it. It's fine. But I think they bookend the year. I think February is obviously confirmed for Avowed. I think December would be a good month for the Outer Worlds 2. And I say that because you still have September, October, November, and those could be filled, and they will be filled by potentially Fable in November, right? Which is back-to-back RPGs, big ones. And of course, you got Call of Duty potentially in October. Now, they could switch those and put Call of Duty in October, in November, and move Fable to October. It's always possible that they switch it, but they look like they're going to have some bangers at the end of the year. This was a great surprise. Let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we're not ready for 2025. Like just on Xbox alone, like you said, I that was the first thing. Once it finally set in that Outer Worlds 2 is coming in 2025, they're going to bookend 2025 as far as for the Xbox platform. You got Avowed coming out in February, and then you have Outer Worlds more than likely either November or December. And I'm fine with it being December. I kind of feel Fable drops before Call of Duty, maybe a September with Call of Duty in October, because there is another giant lurking in the background in that space right now that could get pushed to 2026. Not Xbox first party, not yet anyway. But in all seriousness, I think we get Fable, then Call of Duty, and then probably in that same month we get Grand Theft Auto 6. And then we finish out the year with, Outer Worlds 2. And yeah, I know a lot of people will be like, well, what if, GTA overshadows Outer Worlds? No. For the people that love the first one, I'm not saying that all of them are going to, skip playing GTA 6 instead, but I don't think it would be any drawback as far as releasing that, let's say 1 month later. Like as far as GTA, it's its own platform per se. If they can figure out the online transition from current online in the San Andreas area to Vice City, we'll see how that goes. But I think in the grand scheme of things, having Obsidian finish out the year for Xbox would be a great way to wrap up the year. But I'm not sure what their next project is, and there's an untitled project. that they still have in the chamber. Hopefully we get to see what that possibly is in June as well. But I have a feeling we're going to be excited about 3 Obsidian games next year, especially after the June showcase, just for the fact that was their plan. I think it was like 7 games in 5 years or something along those lines. And that leaves that at least one more game in the chamber. And it could possibly be a Fallout universe game, or it could be the one that I'm kind of hoping for more so, which would be Stormland. But that was like a pitched Xbox One game that it was too ambitious for the hardware at the time. But we'll see if that's the title that they wind up releasing. But Obsidian is a great RPG developer, and to have 2 strong titles, one at the beginning of the year and potentially one at the end of the year, I think we better start clearing our backlogs now to make sure we have all the time to dedicate to them. Because I love the fact that they have choices that matter in their game. It's not, and I don't want to knock, Mass Effect to some extent, but some of the choices didn't quite matter, or at least in 3 anyway. But Obsidian next year, it's going to be big for them. It's going to be big for Xbox in general. We already know of at least 5 titles for next year. And June isn't even here yet, where they probably, according to some insiders, now have 3 code titles or code names in the lurks that will potentially release next year too. So, man, I don't know. I'm excited for it because Outer Worlds is right up my alley as far as sci-fi. Love Starfield. Love the first game. Love the fact that they had different endings where, and I hate saying spoilers, but if you haven't played it at this point, you definitely need to. But there's a very short ending, and then there's the much longer drawn out ending. But that's what most people go for. But the shorter ending is still fun nonetheless. But yeah, fantastic game. Looks better than the original. I'm loving the visual updates that they did as far as whether it's the water or the character models and things like that. It definitely looks like it has that extra Microsoft funding behind it as far as visually. The same stuff that we saw where Avowed getting delayed, it definitely helped its overall appearance. So I'm looking forward to next year. Avowed is going to be a nice change of events for me, getting into more of a fantasy RPG. But man, next year is going to be crazy. We got Doom, we got South of Midnight, we have Fable. Well, I don't think we'll get Forza Horizon 6 next year. I'm still thinking that's 2026.
I think that's going to be a launch title for the new console. Personally, yeah. I think that's what you wait, because obviously, if there's one thing to show off your hardware that we know is legit, it's a racer, and no one does it better than Playground Games, and there are no better racing franchises than what they do over with Motorsport, and now, of course, Horizon being, in my opinion, top billing. I think Horizon is leaps and bounds better in every way, shape, or form than the Motorsport, but that's because I'm an arcade racer, kind of a gamer. But I think that you save that for your console launch, and I have a thought and theory about that as well. I mean, if you just take a step back and you look at what they have coming out, right? The roadmap is there. You can follow it very easily.
Oh yeah,
2026 is going to be a very interesting year, and I say that because you have the potential of the trilogy, or the Trinity, if you will, releasing for a new console. The new Halo has been worked on for quite a while. They're working on it right now. We know it's Unreal Engine 5. Forza Horizon 6, Japan, potentially, possibly. And, of course, Gears E-Day. Could you imagine if they launched the next console with the Trinity? I mean, it's kind of lining up, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems like it's freaking possible.